Disney is back with another live-action remake of a beloved classic animated movie. Actually, it's based on the first full-length animated Disney movie that started it all. A movie that the Oscars created its own unique Oscar for that has never been recreated. By the way, it's still the highest-grossing animated film ever, adjusted for inflation, of course. A film so iconic that the voice of Snow White was under contract to never be allowed to play anyone else ever again. A film so iconic that the invention of the multi-plane camera was invented, a camera that gives depth between the animated characters and the scenes. A film that took 3 years to make, all on dreams, ideas, and innovation. What could go wrong with a live-action remake? Snow White is directed by Marc Webb, the director of The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. By the way, The Amazing Spider-Man is kind of a great representation of a remake just ruining a franchise. The Amazing Spider-Man was fine, I guess, but Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was amazing. No pun intended. But it didn't really need a remake. Based on the 1937 Disney animated film, which was based on the German fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm, this remake stars Rachel Zegler as Snow White, Gal Gadot as the evil queen's stepmother, and Andrew Burnap as Jonathan. That's right, just Jonathan. Not the prince, just Jonathan. Wait, I'm sorry, Jonathan the head bandit. The film actually starts off pretty great, surprisingly. You see Snow White and her parents, the king and the queen, and a whole lot of apples. I mean, they really went all out with the apples in this film. You're told the story of Snow White's birth and why she's called Snow White, taking some liberties from the original film and the original fairy tale, which is fine. It didn't bother me too much in the beginning, I guess. There's a fun song and dance number with the townspeople that gave me some Wicked vibes, which I actually enjoyed. The song Good Things Grow is the name of the song, and it was okay and a decent start to the film. Nothing fantastic, but it was still enjoyable. There seemed like there were a lot of songs in this film, none of them that were really memorable. They weren't bad, and Rachel Zegler was actually pretty fantastic when she sings, and she has an incredible voice and talent. Of course, we already knew that from the West Side Story movie. She really is amazing, but the songs, again, just don't hit, especially songs that were already amazing like Hi-Ho, which they used to introduce the characters of the Seven Dwarfs. Can I say dwarfs? I feel weird saying dwarfs now. They add a lot of lyrics to the song that seem like it should make it more fun, but in my opinion, it just weighed the song down with exposition of the characters. The song Good Things Grow comes back at the end of the film, sort of bookending the movie, and honestly, I enjoyed that sequence. That song was, again, the only one I really enjoyed for the most part. I can say I enjoyed them more than what they came up with for Moana 2. I mean, woof.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Gal Gadot's Evil Queen song, All Is Fair, didn't seem like a song deserving of a bad guy from a Disney film. When I think of a good evil Disney character song, I think of Gaston or Poor Unfortunate Souls, Be Prepared. Or I'd even take Chris Pine's This Is the Thanks I Get from the movie Wish. Not a great movie, but it's really a catchy tune. They left a lot of songs out from the original, like Someday My Prince Will Come, which was weird, and the Silly Song, and they replaced those songs with songs that were just kind of bland. Only 3 songs from the original movie are in this film, and they're updated with different lyrics. I really hate dumping on films that look like a lot of incredibly talented people worked so hard on, so I want to point out some of the good things about this movie before I keep going on about the bad. Like the set design. Whether it was a practical set or a CGI set, the film looks really beautiful. The animated animals look pretty realistic for the most part. That was pretty impressive. I liked how they stuck to some of the imagery of the animated film, like the box that's supposed to carry Snow White's heart, the magic mirror, the Seven Dwarfs' house for the most part. What else? This movie takes a lot of liberties with the story, which is fine. The German fairy tale actually has different versions that have been passed down throughout the ages. But it was weird that they tried so hard to make the film look like the original animated film, but would change the story so significantly, like adding 7 bandits. Why? They make no significant difference to the story, and they disappear for most of the movie anyway. I couldn't even tell you one of the 7 bandits' names. One kept saying it over and over again because he lost his crossbow, but I honestly don't remember. When the queen gets the huntsman to kill Snow White and put her heart in the heart box, in the 1937 version, the queen opens the box and there's a pig's heart.
The heart of a pig, a blundering fool.
In this version, the huntsman puts an apple in the box. An apple. I mean, did he really think that would trick the queen? In the fairy tale, she actually asks for her liver and her lungs, and the huntsman gives her the lungs and liver of a boar, and then she eats them with salt, thinking they were Snow White's. Seriously dark stuff. But this whole apple thing really bothered me. The end of the film and the way the queen is taken out is different and actually pretty confusing. I didn't understand what had just happened. And when Snow White dies or falls asleep, they don't do the iconic glass coffin. They just lay her on this rock. Again, why put so much into making this film look like the animated version? But I don't know. I felt like half of the producers wanted to do a live action remake and the other half wanted their own story. Did you know, by the way, that there is no true love's kiss in the original German fairy tale? Snow White was just passed out because she was choking on the apple, and the prince's assistant trips over her and the apple comes loose and she wakes up. It's a true story. Rachel Zegler was fine acting-wise, but I never felt like she was Snow White. Honestly, can't think of an actress that could portray Snow White, at least the Disney version. She's so iconic.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
We've had a lot try in other films, and to me, they all fell really short of the animated film and the fairy tale. I felt the same way about Gal Gadot as the queen.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
It was just bad casting. She did her best, and you could tell that she's giving it her all on screen. But it was like I was trying to watch a commercial of all those celebrities trying to play Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials.
Hey, that's not the real Colonel Sanders. I'm the real Colonel Sanders.
The whole time I felt like the film was missing something, and I think that it was missing 2 things that the original had tons of: heart and charm. The animated film was so quirky and sweet and had so much joy to it in a way that made all those other older films seem timeless in a way. I remember seeing Snow White in a re-release in theaters in 1985, which was 50 years since the original release, and it was perfect and better than a lot of the animated films of the mid-80s. The original took its time. It was great because so much thought and innovation was brought to the film. This book, The Illusion of Life, a book that animators study to understand the life-like movements of animations, is so detailed in what they studied and accomplished on the animation side of this film. It's what makes this film so great. There was a sort of heartwarming moment or moments with Dopey that was really the only part of this movie, and it wasn't enough to hold the film. They incorporate the message about beauty on the outside is only skin deep and real beauty lies within, which was nice, but Snow White is beautiful on the outside too, so I don't know how hard that message packs the punch it needed. The CGI of the 7 dwarves were just really bad. They were pretty creepy looking because they tried to make them realistic and at the same time cartoonish too, which if that's what they were going for, they delivered. They weren't that fun or endearing like in the original. There's a scene where one of the dwarfs swings from a rope and yells "Yippee-ki-yay" like Roy Rogers or John McClane from Die Hard. I mean, what was that about? I didn't all out hate this film. If it wasn't a Snow White movie, maybe I would have enjoyed it a little bit more than I actually did. Or maybe not. I took my 6-year-old daughter to screen this film with me, and even though she was sort of bored in the middle of this film, she for the most part enjoyed it, I think, and to me that's all that matters in the end. The theater was pretty empty, and a mom and her son walked out in the middle of the thing. It's kind of a bad sign. The film just didn't need a remake. The original should have been kept sacred because to me it's a huge part of film history that still holds up. People have enjoyed it for generation after generation. Snow White is a pretty big disappointment. It has some great set design, and Zegler does an amazing job with the song she's given, but the bad just outweighs the good here. This was a lot of hard work for the cast and crew that just doesn't pay off. I'm giving Snow White 1.5 stars out of 5 for trying, I guess. It's rated PG for some violence and brief rude humor, but in my opinion, for the whole family, it's safe. It's not fun, but it's safe. How did you feel about the remake of Snow White? Are you looking forward to yet another live action remake of Lilo and Stitch? Where and when is this live action nonsense going to end? Or are you a fan? Let me know in the comments, and again, thank you for liking and subscribing. You are amazing. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together.
Behold her heart.
Snow White still lives, the fairest in the land. Is the heart of a pig you hold in your hand.